Thank you very much for the introduction and the invitation to participate in this very important conference. The truth is that my talk comes after the presentation on the effect of climate change on pandemics, and definitely what I will present is strongly correlated also to climate change. It's true that we are living in a chemical universe. We are using thousands of chemicals every day, either as personal care products or house chemicals or industrial chemicals, in food industry everywhere, pharmaceuticals, cosmetics. Every day we are consuming and using thousands of chemicals. And the problem is that all these chemicals, most of them are synthetic chemicals that cannot be somehow reduced through wastewater treatment. And above all these chemicals from any source, either point sources or diffuse sources, are going to the environment, to the marine environment, to lakes and rivers, and then through the food chain. They are mostly biomagnified, and we don't know which exactly are all those chemicals that are biomagnified. And the ultimate goal is to reveal this hidden, let's say, chemical pollution, which is part of all our samples, and to track the fate of these chemicals in the environment through the food chain to the humans. And of course, then to correlate this exposure to human disease. And of course, improve human health by improving the chemical management as a whole. Because we should understand that it's inevitable to continue using these chemicals, but at the same time, we should find a way to transform chemical industry in a greener production. Green chemistry is already in place. We had the honor to offer an honorable doctorate to Paul Anastas, professor at Yale University, the previous 10 days, which is the father of green chemistry. Therefore, we have a serious environmental problem. We have a hidden pollution. We know only the tip of the iceberg, but the major of the iceberg is hidden. And therefore, we should have methods and perform studies, monitoring studies, to reveal this hidden pollution and to link this to two major initiatives by EU, Green Deal and One Health. We are trying to develop such methods and technologies in our university and in my group the last 20 years. And the development of these advanced methodologies are applied to many environmental, life sciences, and food omics studies in order to provide data to the for environmental quality and food safety improvement. Our mission, therefore, is to develop these novel analytical methodologies, both on sample preparation and mass spectrometric instrumentation, also using high-end and modern statistical tools to reveal this data, and then to improve and insert this data to data repositories, high data repositories. We also develop such repositories, and visualize them and provide them through networks like the Norman network, which we are core group, to regulatory bodies at the EU level, like ECHA, GRC, and DG Environment, in order to have mitigation measures for such chemicals. The cutting-edge methodologies are based on high-resolution mass spectrometers, mostly. We have been the first to develop a wide-scope target screening methodology for more than 2,450 chemicals. And at the moment, we are screening for more than 70,000 chemicals in our samples by several data processing techniques. I won't go into detail on this. And we are applying these methodologies to several environmental compartments. Few of them are shown in this slide. We have been the core lab in major monitoring studies in EU, like the joint Danube survey, the environmental monitoring of the Black Sea. We have been the core lab and the reference lab biomonitoring wildlife. I will show you results on these studies, which show definitely the biomagnification of several chemicals that are not meant to be biomagnified. And of course, supporting the wastewater treatment plant of the water sewerage company, and last 2 years in cooperation with the National Public Health Organization, EOD, and several other institutes all over the world. Life Apex project was, let's say, game changer project, because we have been able to demonstrate that the systematic use of contaminant data from apex predators and their prey can effectively be used in chemical management. We have been the core lab of this project. We gathered almost 200 pooled samples from several environmental specimen banks, natural history museums, and research collections. All the samples came to Athens and lyophilized and analyzed with our methodologies. And we have been able to demonstrate that 250 chemicals were found in these samples. Most of them are shown in the slide are pharmaceuticals, pesticides, surfactants, and several industrial chemicals like PFAS, but not only the parent compounds, but also the transformation products have been detected, which means that a major part of this chemical pollution is hidden and not widely explored. Of the first tier 1 results, it has been obvious that PFAS is a major class with a widespread presence in the environment and bioaccumulative properties. It has been also recognized as a human health threat. Some of these compounds have already been banned, but they are substituted by other analogs. And these chemicals, but also other parent compounds and like tramadol, lidocaines, but also transformation products, have been found at elevated concentration levels in apex predators versus their prey. Therefore, it has been obvious from the first tier that was applied to only 4 major countries, UK, Germany, the Netherlands, and Sweden, that there are many chemicals that are registered from the chemical industry without mentioning to their bioaccumulative or biomagnification properties. Therefore, there is a bug, let's say, in the chemical registration. Therefore, the chemical management. And this was a major key message to ECHA and European Commission, We have found that PFAS were everywhere. The sum of PFAS was 1 to 4 order of magnitude higher in apex predator than their prey. It was known that they have bioaccumulative properties, but the results were alarming because PFAS was in all samples, and there were first reports of new chemicals, new substitutes of those chemicals that were found in stored apex predator samples like FB3B in Eurasian otters. This means that we substitute chemicals through our environmental data and pressure to the European Commission and chemical industry, but the chemical industry has already found substitutes that are, of course, used for their needs and for our needs, and then these chemicals are then again in the environment, and the circle is continuing going on. Another important story of this Life Apex project is the trends we have seen from
Professor Ioannidis, I apologize for the interruption. You have 3 to 4 minutes left.
Yep.
Thank you.
And then we have found that we had some decline in the concentrations of PFAS in otters, but not other chemicals. There are alarming results also in several preys and predators that found a cocktail of psychotropic drugs that are known that change the behavior and endocrine system of the animals, like diazepam and other active substances. And these methodologies have been applied also to other compartments like Baltic Sea, Antarctica, and several other places, North Atlantic, in the globe, and also we have come to the same conclusion. Another way to check the exposure of chemicals, of humans to chemicals is wastewater-based epidemiology. It was known through COVID-19 pandemic by monitoring the viral load at wastewater as an early warning system, but we have used this also the last 12 years systematically in Athens to check the use of chemicals and the exposure of the Athenian population to chemicals. And we have seen that all this data can be used to take measures for public health, addictions, habits and lifestyle, and of course chemical exposure to pesticides and other industrial chemicals. And through the pandemic, we have seen significant changes, like for instance, antiviral drugs in the first wave of pandemic, but also that there was a periodic increase of psychoactive substances like antidepressants and anxiolytics during the waves of the pandemic. And it was clear that the increase in use, like use of sleeping disordered pharmaceuticals when we have pandemic waves, are strongly correlated. And a significant project that has already started is a partnership for the assessment of risk of chemicals. It is a 7-year project that the European Commission started in order to use all this data and provide the tools for the effective chemicals management and public health protection of Europe's citizens and environment. And just to conclude, another effort we are doing in our laboratory is the exploration of exposome. Exposome is the cumulative measure of environmental influences and associated biological responses through the lifespan, including exposures from the environment, food, behavior, and other processes. And we are focusing on chemical exposure, the total chemical exposure, and some studies show that already we have found 42 chemicals in maternal blood and placenta, And we have used also, we correlated this data with sludge data as a proxy. It is a hypothesis that has been proved and already published. But at the same time, with several collaborators like Yale University, we are trying to correlate the chemical exposome with children with asthma or colorectal cancer. At this point, I would like to thank all my collaborators for all this tremendous work, the last 10 years, and you for your attention.